With Alexander Usyk finishing Daniel Dubois in dominant fashion during their rematch, the boxing world is now left wondering what could possibly be next for the pound-for-pound king and one of the most accomplished fighters in the modern era. Usyk has consistently proven himself at every level, from Olympic gold to becoming undisputed champion in 2 separate weight classes, first at cruiserweight and now at heavyweight. With an undefeated record of 24-0, each fight on his resume has added to an already legendary career, and it seems clearer with every passing bout that he may not have many fights left before retirement. This makes the next step in his journey all the more crucial, not just for his legacy but for the sport itself. Fans and analysts alike are eager to see the biggest and most meaningful fights possible before he hangs up the gloves for good. In the aftermath of his emphatic win over Daniel Dubois, many are reflecting on how Usyk dismantled a younger, powerful opponent who came into the rematch with momentum and a solid knockout streak. Dubois, who had been seen as a rising threat in the heavyweight division, especially among UK pundits who believed he had a legitimate case in the controversial first bout due to the debated low blow incident, was expected to give Usyk a serious test. But Usyk silenced all doubt with a masterclass performance, schooling Dubois and ultimately stopping him with a devastating overhand left in the 5th round, a punch that he later nicknamed Yvonne. Now that he's vanquished another contender, the possibilities seem wide open for Usyk, who has said on multiple occasions that he may only have one fight left. Before the Dubois rematch, he hinted at a desire to end his career with a massive super fight, either against Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. Given what he's accomplished, it would be well earned. However, in his post-fight interview, he playfully claimed that 38 is still young and that his journey might just be beginning, though that comment likely wasn't meant to be taken literally. Having achieved everything from amateur dominance to Olympic gold to professional greatness, Usyk has effectively completed boxing. Yet somehow, he continues to get better with each appearance in the ring. With limited time remaining in his career, it's vital that the next opponent be worthy, and in terms of deserving contenders, the name that keeps coming up is Joseph Parker. Parker has been on an impressive run, especially throughout the Riyadh season, where he has taken out dangerous opponents including Deontay Wilder, Zhilei Zhang, and most recently Martin Bakole. The win over Bakole was particularly notable because many in the boxing world had pegged Bakole as a legitimate threat in the division. Even though the fight was taken on short notice due to Dubois pulling out from his originally scheduled bout, Parker stepped in and not only handled business, but stopped Bakole in just 2 rounds. That performance added another highlight to Parker's resurgence and further strengthened his case for a title shot. Usyk has not faced Parker yet, and a fight between the two would bring a fresh narrative into a heavyweight scene that sometimes feels stuck in rematches and trilogies. Parker brings credibility, experience, and momentum. Should Usyk defeat Parker, it would be difficult to argue that there's anyone else left in the division that he hasn't already conquered. That would leave Usyk having beaten every elite heavyweight available, including names like Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois, and possibly Parker. However, there are other names being floated, including by promoter Turki Al-Sheikh. One of the more intriguing, albeit controversial suggestions is Moses Itauma, a young heavyweight phenom who has the ambition and talent to become an all-time great. While the idea of matching Usyk against Itauma is fascinating from a storyline perspective, especially considering the potential for a historic upset, akin to Floyd Mayweather versus a young Canelo Alvarez, it's probably too soon. Itauma, while immensely talented, is still at the early stages of his professional development. He is expected to face Dillian Whyte soon, a fight that could raise his profile significantly. But even if he wins that bout, jumping into a fight with Usyk would be a tremendous leap. It would almost certainly favor Usyk, who has seen it all, done it all, and faced the best of the best in every opponent's backyard. Matching a still-developing 20-year-old against a generational champion might serve as an unforgettable learning experience for Itauma, but it could also stall his development if it turns into a one-sided rout. The only real upside would be the promotional buzz and what it might mean for Itauma's long-term marketability. If he somehow managed to beat Usyk, it would instantly turn him into the biggest name in boxing and rival Mike Tyson's record for youngest heavyweight champion. On the other hand, if he loses but remains competitive, it could still serve as a respectable platform to build from. But realistically, Itama needs more time, more fights, and more experience before such a leap makes sense for anyone involved. Another dark horse in the division is Agat Kabayel, who has quietly built an impressive resume with a string of knockout victories and a rising reputation as the new boogeyman of the heavyweight scene. A few years ago, that title may have belonged to Martin Bakole, but Kabayel has now overtaken that narrative, particularly after his recent knockout win over Zhilei Zhang, which marked the first time Zhang had ever been stopped in his professional career. Granted, Zhang is 42 and clearly on the tail end of his career, but he was still considered dangerous after wins over Deontay Wilder and Joe Joyce. Kabayel's body shots were brutal, and he's currently riding a 5-fight knockout streak, including a victory over Frank Sanchez. Despite his strong performances, Kabayel lacks the kind of mainstream recognition that would make a fight with Usyk feel like a true mega event. While he's done more than enough to warrant a title opportunity based on merit, boxing often rewards star power over resumes, and Kabayel still lags behind in that department. In reality, the most likely next step for Usyk might not be a fresh opponent at all. It could very well be a trilogy bout against either Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury. Despite Usyk already defeating both men, twice in Joshua's case and most recently against Fury, these names still carry massive global appeal and would generate the kind of financial reward and promotional energy suitable for what could be Usyk's final fight. Tyson Fury, in particular, has been vocal about wanting a trilogy bout, and with promoter Turki Alalshik showing interest in facilitating that fight, it seems to be gaining traction. While a trilogy against Fury may not be necessary from a sporting perspective, Usyk already won the first two, and Fury hasn't exactly been active or dominant lately, the business of boxing might still push this matchup forward. Fury continues to toy with retirement, return, and public statements claiming the previous results were unfair. Though that narrative grows stale for some fans, it still attracts attention and could be leveraged into another blockbuster event. The AJ trilogy, on the other hand, feels even less likely, considering that Joshua has been knocked out by Dubois and already lost twice to Usyk in definitive fashion. While Joshua still has name recognition and might offer a big payday, there's little competitive intrigue left in that matchup. At this point, if Usyk is truly only planning one more bout, the logical possibilities narrow down to two realistic contenders: Joseph Parker, who has earned the opportunity through recent performances, or Tyson Fury, who still carries the global cachet and history to justify a third fight. While Parker may deserve it more, the odds heavily favor a Fury trilogy, simply because of the commercial magnitude involved. Usyk has earned the right to call the shots, and whatever path he chooses, he will step into the ring with a legacy already intact and perhaps only one more chapter left to write. Let us know who you think Alexander Usyk will fight next. And if you're enjoying the ongoing boxing coverage, don't forget to check out our breakdown on whether Manny Pacquiao was actually robbed in his last bout.